All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in action. We've got 3 more series left to go. And the first one of that second half is going to be none other than SPT against CE, the El Clasico, if you will, of China.
Indeed. And I don't know if you have replaced me, but according to my housemate, excellent, my housemate slash technical support in this case, I should be fine enough to continue. Basically, the house has a bonded line, and the second one was having a fit. So now everything has been pushed onto the first one, so I should be at least stable. So hooray, I am back-ish.
Hooray for stable lines. I like it. I love it. All right, and with Tetra back at my side, there's nothing that's going to stop us from casting those last 3 games. Unless, of course, someone cuts the wire. Or
Yeah. I think that's probably because I am very lucky that I've managed to avoid all life trauma. That's probably about as close to PTSD as I will ever come, or at least I hope I ever come. Just a situation of, oh no, not internet problems again.
Everything but not the internet.
On a cast day. But yeah, SPT versus CE. CE, ever since they've done the role swap with Juyu now moving on to tank, might be able to make a play. So, SPT though, they haven't had any role swaps, they haven't had any roster swaps since last phase, and they are looking pretty stable, pretty reasonable right now in a solid second place.
Yeah, but if we talk about stable rosters and stable looking people, then I think CE is on the verge. They're on the verge of, stabilizing a little bit. They still, of course, have to get used to playing with XTQ, who has also then switched roles, of course. He was supposed to be the tank replacement of Wind, but after that not working out in the slightest, they decided that Juyu was going to fill that slot, and XTQ now on the range flex role, where he's doing pretty okay. He's getting better by the day.
Yeah. Much better than he looked on tank.
Oh, yeah.
Much more impressive, and I think a lot of that might have to do with just the shot calling aspect, where Juyu is so much more experienced with CE as a
Absolutely
team.
True.
So that is my theory there. Here we can see... Excuse me, apologies there. Here we can see a Lufel being compared to Misaka. Lufel swapping from that support role, another role swap player, into the assassin role, and has been doing pretty okay there. And then Misaka, of course, a linchpin of this SPT roster.
Yeah, without Misaka, just like I think CE found themselves in a similar situation as to just imagine Misaka leaving SPT, right? Wind, the main tank. Not sure if he was the shot caller as well, but the main tank is just such a crucial role to any pro team that replacing him or her is not going to be that easy.
Yeah. As we see SPT, they choose the first map. They are taking us to the Dragonshire. Now, who will come out on top here? With CE taking our first pick and first ban. Remember, this is both these teams are very strong on this map. SPT used to be the strongest team on this map, but since fell off after since 2 phases ago, where they had a 100% win rate.
Yeah, by no means are SPT undefeatable, unbeatable on this battleground. They have certainly shown some signs of weaknesses, especially when facing teams like Beyond the Game and the One, whether it is just a temporary anomaly, if you will, or whether SPT is indeed a weaker team than they were last phase. That, of course, remains to be seen all the way until the playoffs. And with, speaking of, showing sense of weakness, with Beyond the Game dropping a game against Team Nut, if SPT wins this 2-0, they're going to close in dangerously on the on the current top 1 spot.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, I am so excited for Team Nut versus the One game now.
Oh.
That sounds amazing. Also amazing, CE bringing out the white main. 365 white main.
Absolutely true. Now, Tetra, I'm so sorry to balk you with this, but could you try to restart the call, because the robotic spiking is back indeed. So we're just going to...
Test. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I think you passed the test.
Nice. If I don't, then I'll unplug it and plug it back in again.
Gotcha.
Software first, hardware second. Now then, Muradin and Phoenix coming in here for SPT. Very standard opening for them. The Muradin is, of course, Misaka's top hero.
Yep. Muradin has always been one of his most comfortable picks, if not the most comfortable picks, and also the one that he achieved best results on with, I think. Next to his Diablo, probably his most lethal main tank that he has available. Now we see Dehaka coming in for CE. That is a KTY hero if I ever saw one. And then we're probably going to see XTQ on Thrall back on that hero.
Yeah.
He actually had a couple of really nice performances already on that hero.
Indeed, he's hard to kill because he's so tanky, so he can't be punished as much and can still drop some very decent damage. Here comes the Jaina ban. Interesting. Follow-up burst is still very acceptable. Could be a good Alufal hero.
Yeah, the slows actually would have been so great for them as well if they had wanted to pick it themselves, right? Slowing and Phoenix Salvo is probably a match made in heaven, but they're probably more worried about the fact that CE could very well play it themselves. But solo ranged Jaina plus Thrall, I'm not so sure. Obviously, these teams have more intel on one another than we do, so they probably had their reasons to ban it.
Also, you were wondering about tanks. That is a Sonya. I'll jump to that in a second. We were wondering about tanks. Misaka has more Muradin games than everything else, and 3% higher win rate on Muradin than Diablo.
Tetra, could this be another one of those infamous SPT Bloodlust combos that we saw last phase?
Maybe. It could certainly be if they are willing to run it. The Bloodlust is just great in general. Now it's slightly less likely, but Ancestral on a Sonya is still very decent. You can see picked 2.1%, never banned,
wow.
And so far has yet to win a game.
Absolutely crazy. All right. I think we had one Sonya game this phase, and as you can see here with the statistics, it didn't go so well for the team that picked it. Now,
yeah, who played that? I can't remember.
I don't remember on top of my head either, but Tetra, CE, I think they're basically on track here. They smell that something's kind of fishy, and they pick the Cassia preemptively because they're like, you know what? If they pick another ranged assassin like, let's say, Raynor, for example, who would also benefit heavily from the Bloodlust, then we need some physical armor against that. And I think at the very last moment, SPT pulled the brakes, and they basically put in the Junkrat. So they have a little bit of ability damage now against the Cassia.
The Cassia is a hero that Alufal used to bring out quite often, but hasn't really had the chance to play as much this season. So far, he's only managed to play it once this season in its entirety. But overall, he has 4 matches on the hero where he's managed to pull out a 50% win rate, but it was one of the first ones that he showcased after swapping to the ranged assassin role, where he started off with Genji, and we were like, whoa, this is awesome, and then bringing out the Cassia and saying, this is still pretty freaking good. But after a while, the meta changed, and we went away from those mobile characters and the Cassia into the Raynors and the Phoenixes, but Cassia is still sort of re-emerging in China especially.
Fully agree. I think China is getting a lot more adaptive, if you will. They basically know when to pick a Cassia these days. They just don't always flat pick it when it suits them. But they wait for the right moment. They wait for the right draft circumstances to actually unleash her. And that could very well be one of those. Junkrat, of course, is a little bit of a menace, a little bit of a thorn in her side. But if played carefully, especially with wide main at her side, Cassia can definitely prevail.
Let us find out as we are loading into the Dragon Shire. And spawning on the left-hand side, it will be the potential favorites in this matchup. It is Super Perfect Team. And playing for them is Lucky, Melody C, Misaka, Soap, and ZZH.
SPT may be the favorites coming into this, but CE is by no means considered to be a weak team, and they're represented by Alufal, XTQ, 365. Then we have Juyu as well, and last but not least, we have KTY. So, Alufal, sorry, we forgot about him. So yeah, good stuff coming in here for CE. I like their draft. I think it's very well-rounded, albeit it's a little bit risky at times as well, because with their only range damage coming in from Cassia, who's also sort of short range, that might basically be a composition that you have to fully commit with. If you fully commit and you don't get anything out of the top, then you might be actually out-sustained and out-kited.
Oof, that was close for that drag there on Melody C, but does not land. But yeah, you mentioned that, and they seem to have built into that. Instead of going for the Q on the Thunderstroke build for Alufal, he's sticking with the Charge Strike. So he is committed to getting stuck in. We have Regen Master on Anubrag, so he's fine to get stuck in, as well as the Regen on KTY as well, who will escape this early gank. The only person who's gone for anything really ranged in any way is Thrall and the White Mane, who has stuck with Clemency and Echo of the Elements.
That is correct. So no longer are we seeing the Crash Lightning here. Of course, in Dragonshire, on any map basically where you need to rotate a lot as Thrall, it doesn't really make a lot of sense because most of the time you're not even going to see the entirety of the enemy team, so stacking those Crash Lightnings is quite the opposite of easy. So Echo of the Elements, the more well-rounded talent here. I definitely don't hate it. Look at Juyu. He's poking in, trying to take a peek here at CZH, who up to this point had been clearing the Siege Giants. Now all of a sudden, Nubarek finds himself surrounded and outmanned.
He dodged the Stormbolt, so he knows he has more freedom here. He knows he can get an assistance as well. They blow up Junkrat. And as such, Lucky goes down, and CE, they don't steal the camp, but they do get the kill, and will be able to clear this camp up before it even makes it into lane. Yeah,
that was actually a really sweet move there. Finding Junkrat and nailing him down is actually far from easy because he's so slippery. He's so elusive sometimes with those concussion mines, but if you wait for the perfect sweet spot, then you can actually blow him up quite nicely, and that's exactly what CE did. Now, that mercenary camp did achieve nothing, which means that now on the other side, it might be for CE a good timing to actually steal, or not really steal, but take their own Siege Giants.
Right now, though, they were looking to see if they could blow up Melody C, but Misaka, 2 on point with that protection. Melody C, by the way, did go for the advanced targeting coming in here. So getting that little bit of extra Q damage, that extra Q rotation, if he's able to stack that up fully. And Sonya also varying a little bit. A lot of the times these days we usually see the Hurricane on this level just to get that cooldown reduction. Instead, though, it is the Shot of Fury. So the next basic attack, the basic attack increase needs to live to be able to use it, though. But a fantastic gank once again by CE.
I mean, that was just so well played. It looked pretty easy, right? Because all those CC effects were landing in perfect synchrony. But yeah, it was actually far from being easy in the first place because Juyu basically calculated the perfect distance and the perfect angle to use here. And thanks to his Under King talent at level 4, he made sure that he had enough range for it. Without that talent, he would have not been able to execute that. So really good game sense by Juyu, the newly appointed main tank for CE. And he continues to impress me more and more.
Likewise here, he's definitely been getting some really good engages. He really does have that killer instinct that you used to see when he would play heroes like Greymane or something like that, where he'd always get the perfect go for the throats. So it's really nice to see him able to execute those moves. Now though, we're seeing the Mana Tide coming in for Thrall, just going for maximum sustain here, keeping himself nice and topped up. But in the meantime, SPT sneakily steal away that bottom bruiser camp, and well, XDQ doesn't have the best camp clear speed.
Yeah, you know, Thrall is not too shabby when it comes to dealing with those, but as you said, he's not the best one either, and also he needs to be careful not to get surrounded and ganked while doing so, with so much attention being put onto the middle and top lane here by CE. That bottom Merc camp steal hurts them quite a bit, not gonna lie. And I think easily, like, this bottom mercenary camp, this bottom bruiser camp, is so underrated, oftentimes overlooked and forgotten about, but it can give you so much momentum and so much pushing power for the bottom.
So then, pressure being applied to Misaka. You can see just how much value that Inquisition can get if you just don't react. Dragon Knight denied. Nicely done here by CE. But you can see how much value that Inquisition gets if it's just allowed to fully channel. It does do a reasonable amount of damage, and that slow is consistently annoying.
Yeah, the slow is super annoying, actually. If you ever played against White Mane, then you will know exactly what we're talking about. And the High Inquisitor at level 4, in particular, it really helps fight the major weakness of White Mane, which is mana and mana cost reduction, right? So if you use that now, especially hold that thought, Misaka definitely in enemy territory here. They might even be able to get a Rengar. Nope, and Nubarek ran out of stuns. But yeah, the most crippling part about White Mane is her mana consumption. But if you use Inquisition after, you know, spending 2 or 3 stacks of Desperation, you're gonna get all your mana back, and that helps you so much.
Yes, it does. We're going to see XTQ trying to channel. Juyu trying to zone away. Melody C here. Melody C able to dodge him. I love this little duel between these two because these two players here, as we do see the Dragon Knight going over to CE, but Juyu and Melody C are the only 2 Chinese players within the widest hit list of the players with the widest hero pool in professional play. Both of them on a hero pool of 48. The only 2 players with a wider hero pool than Melody C and Juyu are Schwimpy and Tomster.
That's pretty crazy, man. Tetra hitting you guys up with that knowledge. I'm loving it. And it really shows you how much these two players have been through, right, in their career in HGC China. It's not only just, you know, changing teams, but also swapping roles, most importantly. Super cool to see that. But yeah, the Dragon Knight is basically wreaking a lot of havoc here in favor of CE, taking out tower after tower. In the meantime, though, we see Super Perfect Team. They don't even pay that much attention to that Dragon Knight. They're trying to make their own plays happen. Level 10 is here. Ball, Lightning, Cocoon, and Scarlet Aegis. Only Thrall is currently still hesitating and debating what he should go for.
That's interesting, he's picking up the Earthquake. I guess he wants to try and keep them in the fighting range of the Aegis, just to make sure everyone...
And the Ball Lightning too?
The Ball Lightning, yeah, sorry. But Sundering is definitely a little bit more impactful against someone like Sonya, so this is an interesting pickup. I'm curious to see how well it works for them. As we see on the other side, SPT get their heroics as well, the Ancestral Healing coming in for that Rhaegar. Junkrat can work for Bloodlust comp, but he misses out on so much Q damage because of how his auto-attack animation works that it's a lot less common. And also, Blind's pretty good, yo.
Yeah, Blinds are pretty good, yo. Then we have the AoE slowing, the Cocoon. Like, there's just so much disengage available for CE that at some point it's actually highly debatable whether Bloodlust would get any value or not. And look at Julian, man. That impeccable timing on his Burrow charge, just barely escaping Murden's Stormbolt. But hey, Anubarak is a pick that we have been calling a sleeper because whenever he gets pulled out, he does really well, but he just doesn't get picked that very often in the first place.
G rotates back to the mid lane for the moment. We can see these Brutes accounts being left mostly unattended, Soap just sitting up there, Soap experience. As CE and SPT, they both stick so close together in experience, despite SPT with a CE with a 3-kill lead right now. They really want to be able to capitalize on this, but SPT, they've been playing the macro game just so efficiently and defended that Dragon Knight very well.
It's actually insane. After 8 minutes, not a single fort has fallen, and it looks like there's not going to be any fort falling anytime soon here because both teams, as you said, are just so close neck to one another. They're really trying to not, you know, give in and walk away from an inch here. They're really trying to maintain control in all 3 lanes at the same time. Looks like the Bruiser camp of CE in the top lane reigns supreme. As a result, Sonya is being pulled off to clearing duty. And that might be that moment in time where they can maybe find an opening in the bottom lane. Keep in mind that with the Haka in the mix, you can always have that additional manpower in the case of an additional, an immediate initiation on a team fight.
Pressure comes in from CE to the bot lane. KTY forced to back up because he does not win that matchup against Sonya unless he's within tower range and can pull Sonya into them. So as such, backs up, also doesn't want to get ganked, especially as there are 3 heroes currently in top lane just wrecking it.
Yeah. Wow, Regeneration Master actually completed already after barely 9 minutes. Anubarak is now a tanky beetle, has 500 bonus XP. The tongue lands onto Phoenix. Is that the foundation here? Actually interrupted the teleport with a great isolation.
But a great cleanse keeps Early C on the move. Is the teleport off cooldown yet? No, it isn't. Thrall XDQ with the kill. Now they look for Soap, who's getting so much healing from Whirlwind. ZZH getting chased down. 365 coming in for the assist. ZZH gets the slow, but gets out of range of the Inquisition. Now they once again turn their attention to Soap, who gets Ancestral Lightning. Hits ZZH again. They're very nearly dropping down, but Misaka coming in for the save. Now he becomes the target. Alufal is sneaking the Dragon Knight while this is happening, but Shuyu's in danger. Aegis will keep him alive through the Riptide there, and that is a Dragon Knight going over the CE, but that was miraculous that no one at SPT died.
I was going to say, I can't believe how well SPT actually salvaged that terrible situation, right? Losing a member that early is always something it's really hard to come back from. However, as you said, that beautiful rotation by ZZH, realizing that only the Ancestral Healing can keep Sonya alive there if he makes it around the circle, was so cool to see. And now, all of a sudden, with everybody still being in tip-top condition inside of SPT, that Dragon Knight has taken a lot of damage already. Has to keep maximum distance here to only drop a Fire Breath here and there. But look at that. Look at the minimap. C isn't even trying to go for additional structural pressure. They're trying to soak things out here. Top lane being occupied by Dehaka, bottom lane being occupied by Thrall, and slowly but surely they're expanding their lead in experience.
Phoenix has panicked a bit and has gone for the Adunian armor here, so he does not die, but he's now tracking down XTQ, but that Wind Fury speed, just too much here. But while they were doing this, the Dragon Knight has just wrecked the first fort of the game. It took them so long to do so, though. Both these teams so cautious of each other. They know just how punishing they can be.
And that was just clever play by Lufel, right? He knew perfectly well, as you said, that taking unnecessary damage on that Dragon Knight would probably prevent them from getting anything done. White Mane being the focus target, Age is keeping her alive though, but SPT is not done yet. The Ancestral goes through. Phoenix though dies yet again to Dahaka. KTY is on a tear right now.
He is absolutely wrecking people. That is 5 kills to 0 in favor of Challenge right now as they move on to the Bruiser camp. This will be pushing the top lane, which is so far unwounded, but it's also a denial for SPT.
Yep.
CE's top fort is... well, it would not be in under the new condition if it was sold on any website, so they would much rather just push this down and give themselves some breathing room there.
Yeah. An ancient Spartan wisdom, give them nothing and take everything away from them. That is exactly what CE is doing right now. They're stealing all the mercenary camps and they're taking away structure after structure, slowly and methodically. CE in full domination mode. And I have to say it again, Tetcher, I think most of it derives from the fact that Juyu on that Anubrak is making plays happen, just like KTY on that Dahaka. The front line, those crowd control abilities, they just land perfectly, exactly when they need to land.
Seriously, they are putting on such a show right now, CE, with so few mistakes. They are looking to try and take this game away, but SPT, they are not going to play passive. They refuse to go quietly into the night. A talent down, they run in for the opponent's Bruiser camp, and they take it with good timing, using the vision they had of the bot lane, quick cleanse on the counter-engage attempt, and Soap escapes.
Brawls on the chase, though. They're probably going to find Misaka here. The root is good by 365. Murden does have the avatar, but he's saving it for as long as he can. There goes the regeneration, and he has to use it finally, but it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. The Dwarf says goodbye yet again, and without their main tank, SPT is left naked without any chance of applying any pressure whatsoever.
Nothing they can do as CE takes a double channel. That stolen Bruiser camp gets denied. The minion wave is clutch there to save that fort. Dahaka goes over there to clear that up as well. And that's going to be a Dragon Knight, a camp, and an alive fort for CE. This could not be going better.
Oh my goodness. No matter where you looked right now, Tetra, right, in the top lane, the mercenaries of SPT didn't get anything done. In the bottom lane, CE's mercenaries were taking down a structure. The Dragon Knight is going into their hands as well. It seems like the entirety of Dragonshire has now united and allied itself with CE, and they're together in unison. They're pressuring and pushing into this bottom lane. Mercenary value here, the anti-magic damage or also being applied to the Dragon Knight.
Moving in, pushing in, nice punt. Onto Sonya, sorry, removing it. Dahaka's not even here. This is a 4 versus 5 push. Yep. Phoenix is actually going to wrap around by the looks of it. I think he was thinking about a salvo, but because Sonya's just been punted away again, he knows he has to take a more aggressive route to zone out the rest of the team so that the Dragon Knight is left at least unattended.
And why do they keep punting Sonya? Well, because Sonya is the highest single target DPS target that can shred down the Dragon Knight, right? Keep her away from your allies, and you're going to have that keep guaranteed.
And that is going to be the first keep of the game going down. KTY is going to get ganked. He looks to turn it round, though, as the rest of the team comes in. Early C, though, super speedy is going to be able to escape. Good cleanse on Misaka Ancestral for good measure. And that was very nice. You can see the steel trap being put next to Sonya, so she has to better chance to escape. The rest of the team moves in. Sonya turning round. Salvo from the side. This could be their chance. The Aegis on the entire team, though. 40 armor. CE tanking through. Turning round, but finally Soap picks up the kill.
Finally, they were able to burst down Cassia, but the fight is not over yet. Zuya receives some massive healing in from White Mane. They actually can't keep everyone alive, though. It is Thrall falling right now. And CE, they need to minimize their losses right here, right now, because if they end up losing more people, they're going to actually make that map wide open for SPT. And already, with that Sonya and Murden leading the charge, they're trying to get as many structures as possible. They need to open up the map here right now.
fantastic move in by SPT. The nerves of steel coming online for Sonya as she popped out of that cocoon. The beautiful flanking salvo, and this is SPT's chance to get back in this game as 20 is approaching for CE. They still have 3 people dead. This is their chance to just grab everything. They've got the Siege Giants. They immediately rush past the tower that's still alive for this second port of the game. They have to get as much XP in a shorter time as possible to get close to level 20.
And while they're not actually able to catch up entirely, they still made a big leap towards that level 20, as you said. That is their main priority right now. The saving grace for CE here right now is the fact that the Dragon Knight was actually still in cooldown. Oh, KTY and Anubrak, they're doing it again. The tank players, the frontline players for CE are absolutely on a different level right now. Finding those targets when just things were going so well for SPT. That actually puts them back so far. Cocoon Tetcher. That Phoenix might be a goner.
They move forward. Alufal is tanking, though, on the backline as he just eats all the abilities. The full lightning, though, just destroys Soap. Muradin leaps away. ZZH is lucky he's a dog because, he might not be that lucky because Thrall's got a dog. Here comes the noob chasing him down, but ZZH is too fast. Wolf run at level 1. He gets out of there. If he didn't have that, he might have died.
Absolutely.
But that was a double kill for CE.
Still a double kill and probably also a Dragon Knight. The shrines have been unlocked right here, right now. Without Junkrat and without Sonya, a large portion of their damage is actually not available currently. So I think Thrall should have the upper hand here anyways against Phoenix in a straight-up 1 versus 1. Especially with that Wind Rush talent at level 20. Allows him to close the gap a little bit more efficiently. And they're setting out a trap here against Misaka. The root is good from Whitemane thanks to her level 13 and 16 talents. There we go. 13 talents, sorry.
Yep, Salvo coming on to XTQ, just deletes him. Melody C, that was a pretty clutch move, well timed, because now there's only 4 people, with including this Dragon Knight. If they wanted to end the game, this has suddenly become a lot more difficult, but they do have 3 catapults.
Okay, escort the VIPs. In that case, the VIPs are going to be the catapults. Oh, the cliffhanger! Are we going to... Why? You can't do that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, are CE going to be able to close out that game with 4 members only? 3 technically if you discard the Dragon Knight and 3 catapults, or is SPT going to hold? Find out on the next episode of HGC China. Bye-bye.
What's that JoJo music? Like the one that they use in the meme? Blue, do.
Can you imagine if we just cut the broadcast right here, right now, and then just be like, yeah.
We would be incredibly cruel and mean, is what.
And probably fired as well.
Yeah.
All right, we're continuing. Holy cow.
Yep, we're back in. As they're committing. They're going for this. This is an 18-minute DK with level 20 Cocoon immediately onto Sonya. It's so risky. Alufal gets put into keep range. Dragon Knight is already almost down without the shields even being gone. Junkrat punted away. Dragon Knight is finished. Yeah, no, not happening. Isolation with Contagion as well for good measure. But that is a double kill coming in for SPT. Looking for more, and they're probably going to get it.
I mean, baited.
Level 20 online, gets the save just in time. That was a very quick level 20. As Melody C is still getting out-dueled by Alufal. Teleport Duke, though, and Alufal is all alone. Down he goes. Anubrak escapes, but that's bad news. CE once again getting scuppered.
CE, what were you thinking? I mean, you're down 1 member. That's already pretty bad. It's not even that late into the game, so it's not like we're seeing a 25-minute Dragon Knight, which could have actually worked out. It's still fairly early in this late game. And then you also have to consider and analyze the enemy team's composition. A composition that can normally take down structures very well can also take down objectives very well. Sonya, Phoenix, so much single target damage. Junkrat even, with the Riptire, right? To burst that Dragon Knight down. And now with those death timers hitting 30 seconds, it's actually not a guaranteed factor that they're going to actually live through this. But SPT equally wreckful, getting stalled out very nicely by Anubrak here.
They're being dropped pretty low. Thrall also with some great poke to try and deny Misaka's healing. They find XDQ though, but here comes the Nubaraka and the Dahaka. Quick teleport away by XDQ, but will he still? No, the salvo is interrupted actually as they chase him down. ZZH is dropping low Cocoon on Phoenix. They chase down ZZH. He's tanking through it again. He survives. They turn around and kill a Nubaraka. XDQ is trying to focus down Soap as KTY gets a clutch burrow to escape. 1-man, 2-man salvo. XDQ will survive, but CE hold.
CE hold. They drive SPT back, and we see that bottom lane ping pong on Dragonshire going in from the left side to the right side to potentially the left side. But SPT, since they didn't team wipe, since they didn't give too many kills over to CE, they're stabilized and fine for now. But yeah, this is a classic China moment here in which we see brawl over brawl all the while, all the time, and this Dragon Knight is definitely going to go over to SPT.
It's going to be close. Spear. No. Aloof aware with the javelin. They're going to try and use it. Yeah, they're going to try and go for kills because they don't have a Nubrak. They know they're a person down. They find ZZH. Round 3. Finally get him using the isolation to kill off 2 people. Now they have to get back to base because Misaka is trying to stop the ports while the Dragon Knight is going to try and Rambo it.
Dragon Knight is getting dangerously close to the core of CE. Misaka is not letting Alufal go. That's a huge part. They're going to get the kill here, I think.
Alufal's 1v1ing, but he's going to get taken out. There's the Riptide. Dragon Knight's on the core. It's 3 versus 1 trying to defend this. All of the damage dealers aren't here. It's 4 versus 1. Dragon Knight gets through the shield, but that is it. They chase away the Dragon Knight again, and that is going to be CE surviving. There's the teleport, and Melody C even gets out.
Wow, unfortunately, with that initial knockback, whenever the Dragon Knight expires or gets killed, they couldn't even secure the kill on Melody C. I think that was a really hard one to make sure as well. So a 2-for-1 trade. The chaos, the mayhem, it is now spread everywhere. So it's a 1-to-1 trade in terms of keeps Tetcher. The next team fight could definitely be the last one. Not just because the Dragon Knight is going to scale even harder, but also because both teams now have an opening window in the bottom lane. They could just rush the core whenever I think more than 2 people are going to get killed.
This game is amazing. I'm having such a wonderful time. Yep. They dive in, they dive onto Phoenix again, but Ryu eats so much damage. He has to dive away. Wind Rush even being used by XDQ for the escape potential. Earthquake and the double isolation with the contagion, but they don't have Cassia. That was so risky to even attempt that.
Yeah, I mean, I would have understood it if they had just used it defensively, you know, drop the isolation there and run away, drop the Earthquake and run away, but even the slightest attempt of re-initiating there on the side of CE was super risky and dangerous. So, for now, they're going to have to wait until 2 heroic abilities, 2 very important ones, are back online. Earthquake and Isolation, especially Dahaka needs to hit it on as many people as possible. We have the Infinite Lightning, by the way, coming in for Cassia as well. Yep. So if they don't spread out nicely, they're probably going to take a lot of damage. Oh, that's the core call right there.
Double Merc Camps, double Catapults coming in here. They have Isolation on 12 seconds worth of cooldown. If they can get the kill, but a beautiful drag onto Muradin, but he's able to pull back as they start to take damage. Riptide is in the backline, but everyone tanks through. Even 365, he's very healthy. Sonya goes into the cocoon as ZZH is going to be the target here. Misaka forced away. ZZH frees Sonya. Once again, Melody C's able to teleport out, and Cassia dies in the backline. That's a huge deal as the Isolation is onto ZZH. That's the healer down. Can they sustain through this without it? As a beautiful engage onto Melody C, finally able to finish him off. The Riptide does huge damage, but Sonya is wrecking down the core. They have to deal with Sonya, and she's going to win it just on her own. That's Catapult and the Siege Giant. Sonya's burning through it. Lucky arrives. He's going to suicide on the core. 4-point value. And SPT take game number